When I'm able to do a personal retreat, literally take myself, put me in a new environment, and on purpose, I'm going to concentrate on specific areas of life and business that I want to then develop plans around and action plans around later. When I do that, and I have all these ideas that I want to flesh out, I bring those back to my accountability partner and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about. What do you see that I don't? And I get an extra perspective on it. I don't keep all of these thoughts bottled up to just myself. Because if I want to take action on them, then I'm bringing them back to start to get that feedback. Hey everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Small Business Success Talk. I am your host, Christy Smallwood, and you'll notice that the background is completely off its normal path today. But as usual, I'm super excited to be here. I'm glad that you're joining me on this adventure. If you're not following what's going on with me, I am actually sharing my next 6 months of this adventure, as I'm calling it, which is coming out of chaos from this ditch of debt that I landed in. And while we'll get to that in a minute. I've already told this story. I've already told the story of what is getting ready to happen. So now I'm in the middle of it. So today's episode is going to be a Christy Corner episode, but of really focusing around this subject of isolation and support. Because when you're in the midst of the battle scenario, if you will, of your life, it can be anything, especially in our businesses. Oh my gosh, let's just go ahead and narrow this down. When we are having financial troubles in our business, we tend to hide the fact that we're having financial troubles, because talking about our finances, like out in public, has been a taboo subject for a very long time. We don't like to share numbers. Nobody needs to know that much information, all of the things. That number has become this all-inclusive universal measurement of success. When this show, if you've listened to 2 episodes, you'll know that that's not the case on a day-to-day basis. Like the day-to-day of it is, am I making an impact? Like what is really meaningful to feel successful is not the numbers, it's the impact. So this is where we want to dive in a little bit more today on not isolating ourselves when in times of trouble. And this past few weeks, this last year, who am I kidding? This whole past year of absolute chaos has been very much a pattern of cocooning for me. And that's, while it's both good and bad, I've been calling it cocooning to make it sound better. And then there's a line. So if we take that analogy, that metaphor of the chrysalis process, where you have the caterpillar transforming into a beautiful butterfly, this cocooning part feels great, but the whole thing is you're actually transforming here inside the cantina. Nope. You're actually transforming inside this cocoon. You are becoming something different in the cocoon itself. That is that chrysalis process. When you break open the cocoon, you can now emerge as this new thing. But it's in the cocooning process that we should become something new. Now, if that process is not working like it should, that means you're not going to emerge as something new. You're basically going to die in the cocooning process. You could just wither away into nothingness. Is that what you want? And that's a question you have to ask yourself. But you won't. Here's what I'm telling you from personal experience. You won't really ask yourself that because you don't really know you're in that spot most of the time. Now, ideally, something will grab your attention. Maybe this episode that says, hey, get out of your normal routines here. You need an extra voice. You need your support system. You need your friends around you. Join a mastermind. Do something. Get out of this space. So I was really thinking it through because this past year, personally, I have cocooned a lot. I have not gone out to really, I've not done near the level of networking that I've done in previous years. I have not taken trips like I normally would. The cash flow just hasn't been there. Let's face it. If I have even $100, I'm planning a day trip, but it has to be over and above what my normal expenses are. I never like to take from, rent to then go do something fun. It doesn't make sense to me, but that's not how, look, you do you, boo. However, these are the choices that I've made. That's been how I've made decisions in the past. But what that has essentially done to me over time is isolated me away from things that would get me out there and amongst the people. And while I've been kind of sort of, and also let's face it, I've been very inconsistent digitally. So my shows, while are great, I haven't been as consistent with the shows even. And I love doing these things. I love talking with business owners, not new and seasoned business owners, to get all of their stories, their best practices. Why are you in it? What does success really look like for you? What is that experience for you in day? What kind of impact are you making in the world? If you're not asking some of these basic questions, especially as a business owner, then you haven't taken the time to really reconnect with the things that create some joy for you. That was why you even started your business in the first place. I just realized I was cocooning, and I kept saying cocooning. What I didn't realize is that I had isolated myself. Once I gone through the process of surrendering the truck back to my former business partner to take care of whatever needed to be taken care of with that, got a new vehicle for myself. Once I surrendered the house to my former business partner, and I'm not paying rent on that, I'm choosing deliberately to do a nomad lifestyle for the next 6 months so that I can refunnel the cash flow where it needs to go into the debt to be able to alleviate that stressor. Once I got to this new space with my support system here, I didn't realize how much I had been isolating myself. I've just been choosing to not go even outside to take walks. Now, mind you, the excuse of I had a beautiful outside, but I didn't get out of my neighborhood much except to go get groceries. That's isolation, y'all. We can call it whatever you want, but there's also a line there that says, okay, we've been in this season too long. We're starting to get stinky. You need to get out and get the stink blown off, is what we we say that in my family. Get outside, get the stink blown off. Because you're starting to smell. Like, you're smelling like death here. Get out. So I went to check my digital bestie to say, what happens when we isolate ourselves from others? Are there benefits? What's the threats? Is there a happy medium here? Give me a holistic view for home, work, religious stuff, etc., that goes around the life wheel. Should, in all caps, should we isolate every now and then? And so I got back some points that we're going to talk through today. So it says to me, when we isolate ourselves from others, the effects can be both restorative and destructive, depending on the reason, duration, and emotional state behind the isolation. So my being super, being villainous framework, it runs everything through that lens. It gives this tension a clear duality. Solitude can be a hero's tool for reflection. Absolutely. I need to regroup, reconnect, recalibrate every once in a while. or it could be the villain's descent into the shadow self. So around this life wheel, so let's think about it. So what happens to our home life, our personal life, when we need to cocoon for a minute, isolate, we need to just separate ourselves. We need a minute, right? And just need a minute. For all you moms out there, this is where you go to the bathroom, you lock the door, and you try to find 5 minutes for yourself. I get it. Not that I've had kids, but cats can be the same interruptive, knock on the door, let me in kind of way. The benefits of this is that it restores your nervous system balance after overstimulation. Believe it or not, I'm both an extrovert and introvert. So whatever you want to call that nowadays, it used to be called ambivert, and then it's been centrovert, and it's been an overt, like whatever. I am both. I'm walking the fine line between an extrovert and introvert. I get overstimulated at times. I need to back off. Believe it or not, walking into a Sam's Club, a Costco, the big box stores like that, warehouse stores, I am overstimulated. I need to get in and get my stuff, get out. Even a big shopping, that's why I'm not a mall kind of gal. I need to be able to get in a small store and get out. And you would think a mall would do that, but there's all of them it's overstimulation in the environment. So restoring your nervous system after overstimulation, that's a benefit. Another benefit is it creates mental clarity to process emotions and experiences. When you're going through chaos, like I have been for years, it seems like, but it's, as my mama would put it, if it ain't one damn thing, it's another. Just over and over and over and over, like it just never ends. You need to have some space to allow your mind, your heart, process all of that out emotionally, because all that your body's doing, it goes back to the nervous system. Your body is holding all of that in because you've told it to, and now it's held it all in and it has nowhere to go. So now it's going to turn inward and can turn destructive. However, when you're able to intentionally take the space, you can process those emotions and experiences out. Another benefit, it helps you reconnect with your own identity outside of other people's expectations. So basically, stop doom scrolling and believing everything that you see that they tell you you're supposed to be. I know with the work that I do, I've been in marketing for years. I'm also writing a book, and I'm starting on the next one. I'm finishing a planner, and I write courses. I'm constantly in there looking up stuff. So my algorithms go all over the place. But if I happen to see something I think is cute with fashion, then I get all of these skinny girls. You know, in my circles, we call them the skinny bitches. Look, if it comes natural to you, kudos. I can look at something that has sugar in it and gain 10 pounds. It just has been a thing my entire life. My nervous system has decided that cortisol needs to be my protector, and we don't like that either. Anyway, so when you're reconnecting with your own identity, stop doom scrolling, because all of that shit that society tells you you're supposed to be, if it starts with you need to, just shut it off and go take a nap. Like, go take a walk. Go do something fun. Dive into your music that you love. Music is a big deal for me, so I'm giving that to you. Find the thing that brings you joy and go be with it for a little bit. Stop doom scrolling, because if it has a should to it, no, you shouldn't. Just walk away from that. The only thing you should do is pay attention to what you're doing for you. Okay, the threats. So back to personal life. Over isolation can breed loneliness, depression, or distorted thinking. And damn if that ain't true. That's when I realized, oh, this isn't just cocooning. I have been isolating myself. And that's when I'm starting to get down into this downward spiral of destructive thinking. That's not at all helpful, because what happens physiologically, neurologically, if I can say all the big words, right? In our brains, it is wiring. Like, our thoughts are creating new neural pathways based on that thought. And the more that we think that same kind of thought, our self-talk, our thoughts, and the more that we think that same thing, the more I tell myself I'm a dumbass, the more I believe that I'm a dumbass. Stop it. I'm not. I'm pretty smart. I'm actually pretty wise, very discerning until I'm not in certain situations. And I have to have friends tell me, that's not what you think it is. I'm not 100% here. I'm not perfect, but I'm also not a dumbass. So stop telling yourself the bad things because you're not that. Again, stop doom scrolling. Stop yourself. Create some space to be able to intentionally do that, but then come back out to get your support system to remind you who you are. Okay. The another threat is that emotional walls can form from unhealed wounds or pride that says, I don't need anyone. And I'm chuckling because it's me. It's me that does that. I say I don't need help with anything, but in fact, I need all the help I could possibly get. Just saying. So you probably do too. Another threat is lack of feedback loops may reinforce self-sabotaging narratives. Just talked about that negative self-talk that is creating neural pathways that just create more mental ditches for us to have to get out of. Now, the happy medium is creating intentional solitude. So schedule those quiet hours, like literally on your calendar, schedule some quiet time. Start with 5 minutes. Don't tell me you're too busy for 5 minutes. That's what a bathroom break can be for. I've had to do that in the past. Schedule quiet hours, or better yet, for all of you entrepreneurs out there, personal retreats for reflection, but weave back into connection afterward. So one of the things that I've done, so as reflected in one of my chapters here, which is bruised egos and inflated identities, isolation after hurt can become a cocoon for growth or a cave for resentment, depending on whether you return with perspective or ego. So one of the things I love to do is, I did not do this last year. Did not do it last year on intentionally, because it was too chaotic. I didn't even think. When I'm able to do a personal retreat, literally take myself, put me in a new environment, and on purpose, I'm going to concentrate on specific areas of life and business that I want to then like develop plans around and action plans around later. When I do that and I have all these ideas that I want to flesh out, I bring those back to my accountability partner and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about. What do you see that I don't? And I get an extra perspective on it. I don't keep all of these thoughts bottled up to just myself, because if I want to take action on them, then I'm bringing them back to start to get that feedback. Even Apple, when they were like super vibing back in the day, think different. That was their whole thing. That is what marketing and advertising tries to do. Branding tries to really do, is to get people to resonate with the message that is core to our brand. Now with Melanie Sanders, the core comes out as a menopausal woman. I'm tired of your shit. I'm just tired. I'm tired of caring. I'm tired of caring. Me caring about you all the time. You coming to me wanting something all the damn time. I'm wore out. I just want to take a minute to thank the sponsor of our show, 502 Hemp in Louisville and 812 Hemp in Clarksville, Indiana. If you are looking for quality legal cannabis products, they are definitely your source. If you have questions of what would work best for you, their educated staff can help you choose the best product for your needs, like they did with me. I was having some real issues. One, my hormones were raging and I was raging all the time, just not in a very good place. And when I went into the store and I expressed everything that was going on, they asked additional questions that helped them get me to a solution. And the solution meaning better sleep at night, my inflammation's lower. I have been able to just be a better quality of life with my whole mental attitude because these things work great. My preference is the Maria products. That is a special blend that 502 Hemp owners have created themselves. And I use the Ultra Spectrum CBD gummies, the blood orange. It's 1,000 milligrams. Like this is the potent stuff, like meaning it's the highest milligrams I can get. And
I need that for what my system needs. You may not need that much. They also have oils. And so I love the full spectrum here as well, but they have ranges. And according to what you're looking for to help in your body, they can help guide you in that way. So check them out at either 502hemp.com or 812hemp.com. Or if you're driving by, stop in one of the stores and they will absolutely be able to help you out. There's no need to wait for a medical dispensary to open. They have safe, reliable products now. And if you stop in a store, tell them Christy sent you, they'll give you 15% off. And not only that, but if you order online, 502hemp.com or 812hemp.com, and you put in that discount code of success, you'll also get 15% off. So check them out today. And I very much appreciate them being a sponsor of Small Business Success Talk.
To be more intentional. That is how to have personal retreats. You don't just retreat just to take naps. There's a time and place for that too. But as an entrepreneur, taking a personal retreat to be able to intentionally think through strategically on some things, highly, highly, highly recommend. Which ideally I'll be able to do that here in the coming months. Again, looking forward to this new adventure. So let's talk about work and career. So what happens? The benefits of separating yourself is it does give you a deeper focus and an uninterrupted creative flow. So let's say that you can carve out an hour a week for just cocoon time. And you decide that in that cocoon time, you're going to do something totally random, creatively. And how can you then turn that randomness into your business? I don't know. That's just an idea I'm throwing out at you. But when you take that uninterrupted creative flow, let's say you read a book for an hour. It doesn't necessarily have to mean you have to go do something. But in that intentional hour of creative flow time, you're taking all of the restrictions off of your brain. Allow yourself to float, if you will. Picture yourself floating on a floaty with your favorite drink at the lake, wherever, or on a lazy river. And you're just, imagine yourself watching the puffy clouds go by and you're seeing these images. Like, allow yourself to think with your imagination and just think creatively for an hour a week. Imagine the possibilities that can come from just doing that. Highly recommend that too. Another benefit is that it reduces groupthink. So it allows innovative, independent problem solving. That way you can start to think for yourself. You're not just, again, back to doing what you think you should do because somebody told you had to do that. No, you're an entrepreneur. You could think for your own damn self, given the time and space to do so. That your level of innovation can exponentially raise the bar for yourself, your team, the business, everybody around you. Now, the threats to this, when you do, again, you cross that line and it's been too long that you've isolated and you're like, I'm just going to stay to myself over here. Too long isolation. It can be excessive isolation, breaks communication and trust with your team. You can't just be a one-man show while you have your team around you doing what they do. Then there's literally no connection there. And now you've got this team driving off into the sunset without you maybe, or in totally opposite direction of where you want them to go. So your vision just hasn't been connected to the team and everybody's just kind of spinning wheels. That's a threat to too much isolation away from having that. The next threat is the lone wolf syndrome can slip into arrogance, echoing how villains like Lex Luthor withdraw into superiority complexes. And I think I'm just going to set that right there. I have recognized when I've gotten into that I don't need anybody mode, and then I run into a problem and I'm like, shit, I need some help with this because I either don't know how to do it or I can't get over the hump with something. I need help. Look, I had to learn that lesson very early on when I started my business. I need the help. We all need help. So then it went around the life wheel. Okay. So faith and spiritual life, your relationships and community, mind and emotional health. So let's stop here for a hot second, because I just got out before I started recording. I just got off the phone with my friend Allison, who is an amazing speaker, very successful. She is at a CSP level, so a certified speaking professional with the National Speaker Association. She is the president of our Kentucky chapter. So proud that I'm proud of her and humbled that I get to be around her and people like her in that industry. They inspire me and, quite frankly, motivate me to do better. She's actually helped me many a times by all kinds of things. Anyway, love my friend Allison. Shout out to her. But we just got a conversation finished, and she has 4 things that, every leader does that are successful leaders. And she starts with number 2, then 3, then 4. And the number 1 thing that we mostly miss is the time to think. So when leaders give themselves time to think, to be able to think creatively, bigger, better, it changes the trajectory of everything. And it also realigns everything. So giving yourself that kind of time. But what can happen for us emotionally, having our mind and emotional health involved in how we are thinking and are isolating ourselves? The benefits to that is that neuroscience shows solitude activates the brain's default mode network, supporting creativity and meaning making. So I don't know why Ralph Waldo Emerson is coming up, and I'm pretty sure he's very much the nature guy. Went into nature, got really in tune with that. That's why we have so much beautiful written words that have come out of that experience for him. And that whole take the road less traveled, that doesn't come with being around everybody else, but it also doesn't come with complete isolation either. It's very selective, but it's meaningful. Like when you're able to just be in tune with yourself and to see how you want to fit in the world and what's meaningful for you and the impact that you're making for others. Big deal. It also, another benefit, enables self-regulation and introspection, kind of just what we've been talking about. That self-regulation is a big deal, to be able to stop and say, okay, I need to just take some deep breaths. I need to be paying attention to, am I actually breathing or am I holding it all in? I've noticed for myself that when I breathe from down in my gut, it is a much healthier sound and feeling, and like my whole body feels it, versus if all my air is caught up in my chest. My voice sounds better when I'm breathing from my diaphragm and not up in here. When I'm able to, take those few seconds to do that, I can re-engage very quickly into a chaotic situation because my body is now ready to re-engage. I just need a few seconds of that. I'm not taking 5 hours. I'm just taking 5 seconds. Man, if I get a full 5 minutes of deep breathing, y'all, I'm on fire for the day, because I've had some really good oxygen at that point. All right, now the threats. Chronic isolation raises cortisol. In fact, I say cortisol likes to protect me. Yeah. Reduces oxytocin and mimics the same physical stress responses as pain. So check your body and how it feels, and it's going to tell you, hey, I might just need a hug from somebody I care about and trust and who supports me. I need to go to my support. I just need a hug. I might just need a hug. And it may not have to be from a person. My new environment. So my friend Amy, who's letting me stay here, she has 4 cats. 4 cats. Now, some people might say that's too much. I would say that's right on the line. 2 is perfect. They keep each other occupied if they like each other. 4, and one of them is inside outside. He comes and goes, Mr. Feeney. Then there's Winston, who is the queen of the bunch. She's the older of all of them. Then there is Spooky or Spooky Doo. She is a very, she's a smaller cat, but she's also got a little extra fluff to her. She's a tortoise shell. This is very pretty. And she's also my most present helper in a day. Then there's Buddy. Now Buddy is also Alexander Hamilton. And he is a chonker. He is the most gorgeous orange tabby cat. And his fur is so luxurious. You just love to run your fingers through that. And he purrs the whole time. But he's a chonker. He's a big boy. I have now nicknamed him Hoss because he looks like one and acts like one. And he just doop, doop, doop around the house. Anyway, cats. Hug a cat. Let a cat just lay on you and purr. It will regulate you back to normal. And it was interesting because even last night, Mr. Feeney comes in and he's kind of a blonder orange tabby, in and out, skinny, right? He's the hunter. He's a lover and a fighter. So when he's in the mood to love on you, he likes to just curl up and just be all over you, which is fine. Until all of a sudden I am leaned back as far in my chair as I can get, and he has just covered me, which is no small feat, but he has covered me, and he's curled up and he's warm, he's this little heater, this little vibrating heater on my body at that moment. And I felt myself taking deeper breaths. As I took a deep breath and sighed it out, his body started melting more and more. His paws, this melding of two energetic beings at that point completely regulates your system. Just say it. And guess puppies are the same way. And I get to look forward to having puppies at the next place here in a few days. But that with getting your system regulated is a big deal if you haven't heard that theme by now. So that chronic isolation, it's raising all of the bad stuff in your body because you're not able to share it, get it out. Without input from others, distorted self-perception, so the villainization of self or others, can spiral, as seen in one of my chapters, A Villain is Still a Villain, even when we don't intend it to be that way. So is there a happy medium? Alternate self-reflection with social grounding. This is where journaling, therapy, community circles can serve as mirrors that keep your inner narrative in check. Now, the meta lesson, so if we're merging these things together, isolation becomes incubation when it's chosen for restoration and reflection. So when you do it on purpose, you give yourself a designated time frame in which to do certain things that are intentional growth process. It's restorative, it's amazing, it's transformational. It becomes infection when it's triggered by shame, rage, or wounded pride. So when you're not paying attention, you just isolate it because you just don't want to deal with it, right? So much of that, time after time, it's not good. Villains isolate to plot their revenge. Heroes isolate to heal for the next battle. Both are necessary at times. What defines the outcome is intention and return. So yes, we should isolate now and then. It actually tells me I should. Isolating every now and then is a good idea. But do it intentionally, rhythmically, and with a planned re-entry back into groups. It's a form of sacred Sabbath for the soul, not an escape from humanity, but a reset to rejoin it stronger, clearer, and more whole. And then, of course, it asked me would you like me to turn this framework into a one-page infographic? No, I don't need extra work. I just needed the thought. Thanks, chat. But having conversations this way helps trigger me into a deeper conversation with my friends and with you, because these are some things that we skip over. We have thought over the years, we've just evolved all of this. The younger generation's kind of getting there faster than the rest of us, Gen X, boomers, things like that, because we grew up in that society that said you hustle and you make money. That's what makes you successful. When the other is also true, when we're making a meaningful impact in the world, and that takes time and space to be able to sit with that and really, I don't want to say marinate. You just want to be able to be excellent with it. You want to have it like a 20-course meal. You want to sit with that for a while, but every now and then you're going to need to take a break. That's kind of what it is. You want to be able to enjoy every moment of it, but you also need a break. It's like parents taking young kids to Disney. Planned well, you go to rope drop in the morning, you come in the afternoon to take a nap, you go back for fireworks. Plan it well, and that way you can pace yourself through all of that rhythm. And part of the rhythm means you need to isolate yourself for a little bit to reconnect with you, your vision for the business, your vision for your life. Where are you making a meaningful impact? How can you be more innovative and creative? And then you can come back more energized to deal with those day-to-day measurements of, is the progress happening towards that vision that I want to go into? So the extension of this, so what's the next step? Like when you come out of isolation, what's that next step? The next step, groups, community, masterminds, things like that. Do it on purpose. Create your right now, perfect timing for your season, support groups, find your mentors, all that kind of stuff. I talk about this in the Being Super book that's coming out soon, promise, that we need our mentors and guides. We need our support systems. We need those sidekicks, and we need those collaborations. We need that. We have been built as community, and that's that we need to connect with each other. So much so, in fact, that I'm putting together groups myself. So I'll be releasing information about if you want to join a mastermind group twice a month. I'm getting ready to start those mastermind groups. So join us in the Launchpad community to learn more about that. Probably share it on socials here too. But if you're interested in something like that, join us in the Launchpad community. The Success Builders Launchpad is the community that's an extension of this show, because I want to continue these conversations over there. I don't want you to just listen to an episode and walk away and do nothing. I want to keep the conversation going so that should something come up and you need some help with things, it might be me, it might be somebody in the group who you're able to connect with to say, hey, I'm really struggling in here, or bring it to the group that you have something new that you want to celebrate. Or you need, as the leader and the business owner, a place where you can go that your team just doesn't get it, but we do, because we are in that same kind of boat with you. We are doing it right now. We've either been there, done that, or we're having to do it again because we clearly didn't learn our lesson the first time. Sometimes it's like that. And that's a whole different episode. Because we could talk about toxic partnerships in a whole different episode. That's going to be an interesting one, I think. But in the meantime, I would highly encourage you, take some intentional time as a retreat on purpose, for purpose in your life and your business. But don't stay isolated so much that it causes more damage than you intended. So ideally, this episode will, at a minimum, get you to pay attention to that. Are you isolating too much? Is it crossed the line into something that you didn't intend for it to be? Or are you doing things intentionally to then come back and get feedback from your support system? And again, if you don't have a support system, join the Success Builders Launchpad. We are building this community to be a support system for each other, for all of those small, medium businesses out there that just need to join in on this conversation. We hear from the gurus all the time, right? We've got the gurus out there. This community is for all of us doing it right now. We are being those amazing business owners that get out there every day and make a difference for our own communities, our own team, our own lives. And sometimes we just need something a little extra. So with that is our episode today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a follower. Thank you for sharing the show with your other business owner friends, because it's good. This is really good stuff. You should take notes, or not. Just come back and listen again. I'm going to quit rambling now. Have a great day. Come back for the next episode of Small Business Success Talk. I've been your host, Christy.